Namaste, friends. Namaste. Good morning to you all. Well, welcome to our Viniyoga Unplugged on the 10th of September 2024. We shall begin with our invocation in a moment. Namaste. Om Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyanayet Sarvavighnopashantaye Yasya Dviradavaktradyah Parishadyah Parashatam Vighnaneghnanti Satatam Vishwaksenantamashraye Jnananandamayan Devam Nirmalaspatikakritim Adharam Sarvavidyanam Hayagrevam Pundarikasanaseenam Pandurabhrindusannibham Akhandabodhajanakam Hayagrevam Gurubhyastadgurubhyascha Namo Vakamadhimahi Vrinimahi Chatatradyo Dampati Jagatampati Srinagaryam Mahapuryam Tamraparnyuttare Tate Shri Tintrini Mooladhamne Shathakopaya Mangalam Neelatungasthanagiritati Suptamudbodhya Krishnam Pararthyam Swam Shrutishatashirasiddhamadhyapayanti Swachistayam Srajani Galitanya Balatkritya Bhungte Godatasya Nama Idamidam Bhuya Evastu Bhuyaha Jayatu Jayatu Natho Nyaya Tattva Praneta Jayatu Jayatu Yogi Yoga Gukya Pravakta Jayatu Jayatu Sakshat Tattvadarshi Maharshi Jayatu Jayatu Bhaktir Moolakandam Munindraha Swadhayanniha Sarveshan Trayantartham Sudurgraham Stotraya Masa Yogindra Tam Vande Yamunakvayam Yo Nityamachyutapadambuja Yugma Rukma Vyamohitastaditarani Trinaya Mini Asmadgurur Bhagavatasya Dayayika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye Shriman Venkatanathārya Kavitarkika Kesari Vedantacharya Varyo Me Sannidhattam Sada Hridi श्रीकृष्ण ब्रह्मतन्त्रोत्तम गुरु करुणा वाप्तचक्रंक भाष्यम् वैराग्याचारवार्धौ वरदपदमुखे लक्ष्मणे न्यस्तभारम् श्रीवागीशात्ततुर्यं षटरिपुयतिराड्वेदचूडार्यमूर्तिम् नूत्नं श्रीरङ्गनाथं कलिरिपुमनघं ब्रह्मतन्त्रं श्रयामः श्रीमन्नूतनरङ्गनाथयतिराट् आप्तात्मविद्यालयम् श्रीमन्नूतनलक्ष्मणार्ययतिराट् सम्प्राप्ततुर्याश्रमम् श्रीवासेन्द्रकटाक्षसन्ततसुधा लक्ष्यात्मयोगाश्चितम् श्रीमन्नूतनवागदीशयमिनं भक्त्या श्रयामो गुरुम् श्रीकृष्णवागीशयतीश्वराभ्यां सम्प्राप्तचक्राङ्कणभाष्यसारम् श्रीनूत्नरङ्गेन्द्रयतौ समर्पितस्वं श्रीकृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमीडे विरोधे कार्तिके मासे शतताराकृतोदयं योगाचार्यं कृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमहं भजे शिष्यकं कृष्णमार्यस्य नाथवंशप्रदीपकं कल्याणगुणरूपन्तं श्रीदेशिकन्नमाम्यहम् प्रशान्तपुरुषाकारं विनियोगप्रचारकं विशेषवैदिकं सूरिं तन्देशिकं स्मराम्यहम् लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मद् आचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः यस्त्यक्त्वा रूपमाद्यं प्रभवति जगतोऽनेकधानुग्रहाय प्रक्षीणक्लेशराशिर्विषमविषधरोऽनेकवक्त्रः सुभोगी सर्वज्ञानप्रसूतिर्भुजगपरिकरः प्रीतये यस्य नित्यं देवो हीशः स वो व्यात्सितविमलतनुर्योगदो योगयुक्तः योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम् श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः पातञ्जलमहाभाष्यच्चरकप्रतिसंस्कृतैः मनोवाक्कायदोषाणां हर्त्रे अहिपतये नमः भाष्यकृत्सूत्रकृच्चापि निर्मलन्तं स्वरूपिणं ध्यातारं श्रीपतेर्नित्यं पतञ्जलिं नमाम्यहम् ॐ मणिभ्राजत्फणासहस्रविधृतविश्वम्भरामण्डलाय अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः ॐ नमामि नारायणपादपङ्कजं करोमि नारायणपूजनं सदा वदामि नारायणनाम निर्मलं स्मरामि नारायणतत्त्वमव्ययम् ॐ Shant, Shant, Shanti. Namaste, my dear friends. Namaste, and welcome to our monthly Sanga. Welcome to our monthly Sanga. Today, we are on the topic of APARIGRAHA, the last of the 5 yamas that are presented by the great Maharishi Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras. It is, there are 2 ways I would like to talk about it. One is a very simple way, and even that has a lot of significance. But there is a much more deeper and profound way that aparigraha has to be understood. And this is also partially why it is very misunderstood, because many people aren't familiar with this topic of aparigraha in this dimension. So that's something I would like to share with you. So let's take the first and more basic understanding of aparigraha. So when Patanjali is talking about the different yamas, he's saying one of them is that you have to practice the concept of aparigraha, which is non-grasping, non-attachment, or non-coveting things. The word graha means to grasp. So we are all grasping many, many things. We are grasping many, many things. So for example, today I am talking to you from the great city of London, and yesterday I'm walking along the streets, in the very, very important streets, and all that you have on the right side and left side are shops, and people are having so many shopping bags in their hands, left and right, and they are grasping literally so many products. And this is something that we are all made believe to do today, that we need all these kind of things to make us happy. So we are grasping for a lot of these objects. So at a very, very superficial level, the aparigraha is the non-grasping of these objects. So in a certain way, to kind of minimalize the dependence on objects. And if you look at it from a very deep psychological point of view, the reason we need so many of these objects is to make believe that we are not enough as we are, and therefore we need to have these kind of objects to somehow fulfill us. And that's a very great feeling that we have, that there is an emptiness, and that we are filling this emptiness through many objects. It could be like we should have more this kind of t-shirts, or more this kind of pants, or more this kind of shoes, or this kind of bags, or this kind of phone, and things like that. There's great advertisements that if you buy this iPhone, you will be more happier, your life will be more complete. And that's a complete lie, but we believe that lie. And then we buy the bloody iPhone, and then we are sold a cover for the iPhone. There's a beautiful cover for the iPhone. Then there is a layer of sticker on top of the iPhone to protect your screen that we have to buy. Then there is a little what do you call, keychain like thing that is like floating around with shiny things. I don't even know the name. There's even shops for that. So it's not just one product, but is so many products attached to those products that we are buying and buying, because we feel that we are not complete as we are. That's the deep psychological vacuum that we have. That's why most of us try to fill our life with things. And these things could be toys for boys, like telephones or cars. Many people buy Many boys like to buy cars and gadgets like cars and phones and cameras and computers and all those kind of things. And maybe it is for women something different. I'm not a woman, so I don't know much about it, but I'm sure there, because if I whenever I go to the shopping section, I see that the women's section is much more larger than the men's section, especially in all the department stores. Like casually you walk into like the big department store in London called Harrods, you see that women's section is so many levels, and you have to search actually to find the men's section. It's not so big, but it's there somewhere. So it's not that there is no products for women, there is a lot more products for women. And it's itself a kind of sign, because I feel that that that's even more brainwashing the woman, saying she's not good enough because she needs even more products to make her feel better, which is a psychological manipulation of the woman as well. And that's what society is doing. So in a way, aparigraha is the opposite of this, refraining from either grasping the objects in a literal way or in a metaphoric way, because we are also grasping on to people. And this is a very big conversation I also have with many of my female students who are mothers, who are grasping on to the children as if they are an object which will fill their vacuum. Many mothers attach themselves to the children as if though they can be a full woman if they are only a good mother, and therefore they kind of do overly attach themselves to children. They don't let go of the child. They become the slaves of the child. They become the drivers of the child. They become whatever of the child. They sleep with the child forever. They are traveling with the child forever. uh, this is a very, very big problem. And I've seen this in a very, very close quarters, where my own daughter was treated as in this way by her mother, and it really is very unhealthy. You can see that. And this is part of the problem. We consider even people as objects that which with which we are attached to, grasping to. We are grasping on to our family members like children or husband or wife. We are grasping on to our friends, like our friends can be only our friends and not somebody else's friends. We become very, very grasping. And when we have this grasping attitude, then no matter how many products, how many things we have, we will not be happy. You have one child, two child, three child, four child, you will not be happy if you have this. And even to this child, you do more and more, you will not be happy. Just like if you have an iPhone and you're not happy, then you think, oh, if only I get a nice cover for the iPhone, I'll be happy. Then you get the most beautiful cover for the iPhone. Limited edition by Apple. Okay, I buy another $400 to buy that limited edition cover for the iPhone. Then I'm still not happy, because the unhappiness is in me, not in the phone. And then I say, oh my God, something else is missing. If only I can get that little extension for the iPhone, then I will be happy. Maybe I should buy one with the Swarovski crystal. I buy another 300, 400 euro, and then I add that to my iPhone. Still, I'm not happy. Then I say, oh my God, maybe I should get a second iPhone, because if I get a second iPhone, maybe then I can look at this and look at that. And so it will be very, very uh, great. So I will do this and I will, and then we are never happy, because we are busy taking care of the iPhone and not taking care of ourselves. And very, very often people do the same with with people, children as well. Oh, if I have a child, it's enough. Then they get the child. Then they say, no, 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 I have to take care of the child. I have to spoil the child. I have to do this for the child. I have to take the child here. I have to take the child there. I have to do this. I have to do that. I can only do. Nobody else can do that because nobody can do as good as I can do. And this is the same problem. There is a vacuum. In that way, we are also doing a steya. We are stealing from the child their experiences to grow, their experiences to learn, their experiences to make mistakes in their life and learn from it. And we are also practicing stealing because we are practicing parigraha, not aparigraha. And then people say, oh, if I have a second child, I'll be happier. Then if I have a third child, I'll be happier. If I have a third child or fourth child, I can save my marriage. In a way, we are abusing the child. So this is what is happening. We are feeling empty within us. We feel very, very empty within us, and these are ways we are somehow compensating for it to feel more fulfilled. But as long as we feel that emptiness, no object or person will be filling that vacuum. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, when there is this fire of desire, no matter how much fuel you pour into that fire will never be quenched. It will only want more. It will only want more. And therefore, the goal is not to keep giving that fire of desire more and more objects to fulfill. What Krishna says instead is replace the fire of desire with the fire of wisdom. Jnana Agni, he calls it. Jnana Agni. That's why the fire of wisdom is what we call sattva. And that's why I also talk about sattva related with pitta in Ayurveda, not incorrectly listed by many people. Say vata is related with sattva. That is absolutely wrong. Sattva is related with pitta. So this is a very important thing, that we have this grasping of objects and things. Now, my dear friends, never does Patanjali is saying, do not have objects in your life. Never does Patanjali say, do not have children in your life or people in your life. The problem is not with the person or the object. The problem is with our grasping nature. Our grasping nature. That is where the problem lies. So when we have objects, treat the object as an instrument of dharma rather than an instrument of consumption for your desire. The same when we have people or children, treat them with respect, treat them as part of your life's dharma, and that they also have their own dharma, and respect their dharma. Respect their dharma. Just like you cannot expect a phone to drive you from one place to the other, because a phone is not a car. Similarly, don't change the dharma or the destiny of your child or your partner or your friend because you want them to be in your path in this way. You cannot control, your expectations are the issue here. And this is the problem. Even with objects, we have an expectation. Oh, this object will make me happy. Oh, this object will make me happy. That's the expectation that is the problem. It's not the object. We need to have objects in this world, not only now, but also in the past. They had instruments. They had instruments even in Vedic times, which is thousands of years, even before Patanjali. How do we know that? We know that. But and even there are references how mantras were used for reminding us and purifying those objects. Ogum shomiti shastrani shagum santi. Why the mantra Om is very special? One of the uses of the mantra Om is to purify the instruments of our dharma. That's a Vedic reference, Taittiriya Upanishad, which is a very ancient Upanishad, which means there was instruments even in that time. That means there were objects in that time. But the people were not grasping on to the object in the sense that it is theirs, it's a possession. And this is the other problem that I see with a lot of us. We are very possessive of our objects. We don't share our objects with other people. We don't share our food with other people. We don't share our space or clothes with other people. But a few years ago, we were sharing all these things. We had one phone for the whole household sometimes. In my case, in India, we had one phone for a few houses in the street because everybody couldn't afford a phone. We had a phone in our house, and our three of our neighbors gave our phone number as the official phone number because they all used our phone. And every time they got a call, my father or mother would say, hey, go call the neighbor. So me or my brother would have to go and call the neighbor. We shared this kind of thing, and they would come and talk in our house. So things were shared. Now we become possessive. And this is the same, which is that we also become possessive of our, what we call people around us. We are possessive of our people, like we become possessive. And it's very, very fascinating because some of my students sometimes tell me, oh, I don't want to belong to anybody. I don't want to be possessed by somebody. I'm not an object of my wife or my husband or whatever. But when you look at their relationship with their kids, they are so grasping of their kids. So in a certain way, they're not practicing what they are preaching. Because if we don't want to be an object of somebody, then we should also respect that other people don't want to be our object. So that's the problem. We want to possess but not be possessed. That's the problem, which is also the challenge of aparigraha. Aparigraha is also to have this feeling of non-possessing others, non-possessing our children, our family members, and allowing them to have their own journeys in life. Their own journeys in life. Namaste, Dr. Ilango, and namaste. So, this is a very, very important aspect of aparigraha that we have to consider. This is a very important thing that we need to consider. So, the concept of aparigraha is practiced by vairagyam, letting go attachment to objects, to people, letting go attachments and objects to people. It is not that you are abandoning objects. It is not that you are saying, well, I will have no objects. We need some objects. We don't need a lot of them. We don't need a lot of them. So this is one, I would say, the lower level or the superficial level of aparigraha. Now I want to share with you the much more deeper level of aparigraha that actually Patanjali is talking about. This is something that actually very, very few people know about or talk about. And this is coming from the derivation of aparigraha from the word parigraha, from the word parigraha, which is a technical term for something. It's a technical term for receiving a spiritual gift. So, for a Brahmana to be a Brahmana, there were 6 responsibilities that he had to fulfill. Adhyayanam, Adhyapanam, Yajanam, Yajanam, Danam, Parigraham. Parigraha is the last. Now, Parigraha is the receiving of a spiritual gift. Now, what is the meaning of this? Now, when a Brahmana like was performing a spiritual act for somebody, that act had to have an exchange. There is a fee. In modern times, we would call it a fee. But in the old days, it was not considered a fee. It was called a parigraha. It was you received a spiritual gift. Now, this in the old days could be that the person would give the Brahmana a cow, like a Brahmana would perform a ritual for a family, like when, let's say, a member of the family died and they would have to do the rites of passage for death. The Brahmana would do the ritual for them. In exchange for that, the family had to give him some gift, which was considered the parigraha, the receiving of a spiritual gift. A cow, for example, or some gold coins, or maybe some rice, a bag of rice, or something like that, a bag of salt, because in those days, salt was money. Salt was very, very valuable. Now, salt is a commodity, but in the ancient time, salt was a luxury. Sugar did not exist, thankfully, for those people. That's why all the great philosophies came at that time, because at a time when there was no sugar. Now we have sugar, we have no philosophy, we have only poison and toxins. So the idea of parigraha was a spiritual gift, and this spiritual gift cannot be not received. A Brahmana had to receive it. This was the nimantrana. A nimantrana means like an order or a command. If, for example, a Brahmana had to remove some evil spirits from somebody, he would do it. That would, of course, cost him something, right? So he should not receive, he should receive something in return from that family who he has helped. This is a very, very technical term that is called parigraha. Not many people know about this. Actually, nobody in the yoga field is talking about this nowadays. So, aparigraha, which is non-receiving of this spiritual gift, is what Patanjali is talking about. What the hell does it mean? Because it's Patanjali is saying, don't receive the gift that you are supposed to receive. Doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. But it's not in this way. It has to be understood this way, that it means do not do this kind of actions for others too much, because then you receive too much. You also have to nourish yourself. So if I have doing a spiritual job for somebody, that means that time is not dedicated for me to do my dharma on one hand. Therefore, I am having less time to practice or do my own path. On the other hand, that I did something for them, I need to recharge myself. If I keep doing things for others, I get payments and payments, or spiritual gifts and gifts. I have lots of gifts, but I've not nourished myself. I have not nourished myself. Therefore, the aparigraha here means do not do too many spiritual acts for others, because when you do that, you have to receive. It also means recognize the limitation of you. This is the biggest problem now with many of the Brahmanas in India, because the priests are very limited in number, thanks to the, what do you call, the bloody discrimination of the castes and this and that. The Brahmanas have become a minority, and there are so few priests, and they have to do the rituals. So they do one ritual in the morning, one ritual in the mid morning, one ritual in the afternoon, one ritual in the evening, one ritual in night, because they have to go from one house to the other. In the traditional time, no more than one ritual was allowed per day, and not even every day, because the Brahmana had to recharge. That's why many Brahmanas, the priests who are doing today these rituals, they are empty spiritually because they're giving out lots of energy but not doing something in return. They're getting the spiritual gifts, they're getting payments. They are very rich, these Brahmanas, because they're very short in supply, because there's so many families paying them so much money to do these rituals. But the person should not do. That is what is aparigraha. Aparigraha is restraining how much gifts you are receiving in this way, because that means you are giving out more than you are doing for yourself. It's a very, very technical term, technical concept that not many people talking about. That's why this thing about non-grasping is nonsense, because it's not about products only. That's a superficial concept. It's a superficial concept. The more important concept is non-attachment, and it's very, what do you call, seductive as well. When you are doing things for others, it's a very seductive process, because you you also gain the goodwill of others, plus you gain some products or gifts or money in return. So it makes you rich and powerful. What else do you need? That will collapse you, because that is not in your spiritual interest. That is not in your spiritual interest. And that is why Patanjali is saying, practice aparigraha. Also because when you do things for others so much, they become dependent on you. That means they don't become independent. So in a way, you are stealing their independence as well, in an unconscious manner. In an unconscious manner. Whereas if you practice aparigraha, not only you are nourishing yourself, but you're also empowering the others. And this you have to remember even for your children, for your friends, for your family. This is how it should be, because otherwise you build a dependency on you, and without you they won't be able to do anything. That's a very dangerous state. That's a very, very dangerous state, because then there's a lot of pressure on you to be there for them, and that is the worst state possible. What will happen? Because none of us are permanent. We are all impermanent creatures. So if we build a set of dependency, they won't be able to exist. On the other hand, if we are doing things for others, it means we are not doing our dharma. That's why Patanjali is saying that when you practice aparigraha, Janma Kathanta Sambodaha, you realize your life purpose. Why are you born? Everybody is asking the very multi-million-dollar question. Oh, what is my dharma? How to know my dharma? How to know my dharma? Practice aparigraha is one of the ways to know dharma. Of course, mantra japa is another way. Mantra japa is another way, but mantra japa should be done in the ideal classical way of being initiated into the mantra by an acharya, learning the proper procedure of doing the mantra, but that's something which is very rare today. So the other option is aparigraha. The other option is to practice aparigraha. By practicing aparigraha, non-attachment, you will slowly start to realize What is your own life purpose? What is your own life purpose? Why were you born? Janma Kathanta, the reason for your birth, the cause of your birth. The cause of our birth is not to just eat, sleep, consume objects, and just die. We are born here for a spiritual dharma, for ourselves, not always for the others. And even if your dharma is that of a brahmana, where you are meant to do rituals for others, it's not to do rituals every day, because remember, if you are doing so many per day, it's not high quality because your energy is not good. So you need to be at your bestest level in order for you to be effective and efficient to fulfill your own dharma, even if it is meant for the others. I have a very, very close friend in Singapore, and she's a nurse in the hospital, and she's working overtime, overtime, overtime. And she says, I can't take care of my patients anymore because I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted, I'm getting confused which patient needs what medication. And there is no break for her because they are grossly understaffed. And the only way she can take off is by herself getting sick. And this is the what I'm trying to say. If even if your dharma, in this case a nurse, her dharma is to take care of other people, she cannot do that unless she is able to take care of herself. The same for all of us. And this is very important. How can you be a good mother if you are collapsing and you are not able to be steady and peaceful? How can you be a good priest for another person who does all these kind of rituals if you are doing 5 rituals per day every day and you're so exhausted jumping from one place to another? Your vata aggravation will be super high and you cannot be in a sattvic state. And it's you can't control which rituals you're invited for, because in one house it may be a death, in another house it may be a marriage. And technically you're not allowed to do the 2 rituals on the same day, death and marriage. But today they are doing it because there is no other option. There are so few priests. So there's also a karmic problem in this. And that is unfortunately what Patanjali is realizing and saying, practice aparigraha. Aparigraha is not just, so I will live a minimalistic lifestyle. That is what is Patanjali saying. No, Patanjali is talking about spiritual acts. Do not get addicted to spiritual acts that cause dependency on you by you to the others, either consciously or unconsciously. And it's through this that we know our life dharma, and we have to fulfill our life dharma. And there's no accident that coming after aparigraha is shaucha, because when we do a spiritual act for others, we have to purify ourselves. We have to cleanse ourselves of that kind of an action. So parigraha is got to be followed by shaucha. Parigraha. That's why Brahmanas had very strict rules in the past. When they did some rituals, they would not do rituals immediately again. Our own Acharya, for example, who is 94 now, he performed rituals for our group last year where he had a group of 80 plus people doing this. He doesn't do the rituals every week, every day, every whatever. He's like, okay, I do it now. Then the next time is 3-4 months later. 3-4 months later. It's not, that's why I told some of the people who missed the chance, they missed the chance really, because it's not something that is happening on a daily basis. It's not like, okay, I missed Starbucks coffee today, I'll go in the afternoon and get myself one. That's not a spiritual act. Starbucks is the devil, you know. Whereas spiritual acts are the complete opposite. It should not be done on a daily basis. Unfortunately, that's again another problem. Somebody is asking a question about these things is because many people, they are also addicted to spirituality as products, because even spiritual products spiritual rituals are promoted as products. Now many people are telling me, oh, I'm going to shaman, I'm going to a shaman to do ayahuasca ritual. It's become like a product of sales. There is advertisements you see uh, in the in different yoga studios and yoga places. I was recently in Spain, and in one of the posters I saw some shamanic ritual being advertised. It's a product now. A ritual, a spiritual ritual has become a product. And that is part of the problem, because we have now made a very sacred ritual also a product. And that is why we are wanting more and more of this, and we have spiritual addiction as well. We have spiritual addiction as well. So this is what is the aparigraha at a highest level, my dear friends. The non-receiving of spiritual gifts, which is only possible by not doing too many. Because those spiritual gifts is a must. It's called nimantrana. It's a must. There has to be an exchange. In the Maori tradition, they call it koha. It's an exchange. I do something for you, you have to offer something in exchange. The same existed in the Vedic tradition. It's called parigraha. Parigraha is a spiritual gift. Dana, offering of spiritual offering. Parigraha, receiving spiritual offering, receiving a spiritual gift. Both have to be done by the Brahmana. Whereas those who are not Brahmanas are only allowed the 3 of these 6, not all 6. That's why Brahmanas have greater responsibility for this. So anyway, this is what Patanjali is talking about, aparigraha. Because when we enter a spiritual path, we gain more powers, and more people will want us to do things for them. When you have more spiritual powers, people want to do things for them. And that's the temptation that we have to avoid. That's the temptation that we have to avoid. So this is a small summary of aparigraha, my dear friends. I hope it has been useful for you. If you have any questions, we will answer. Otherwise, we will conclude with a small chant. So question has come, how do you differentiate an exchange of spiritual gift from a transaction? This is where intention comes. What's the intention? Because a, a Brahmana has to be very clear what is his intention to receive, and the offerer of the dana has to be very clear what the intention of the dana, the donation or the gift is. And that's why it's it's very interesting. Sometimes some of my students are a bit complaining because I don't like to receive some gifts sometimes, because I can feel that the intention is not coming from the right place, offered in the right way. And sometimes they're even very manipulative. They try to choose somebody else to give the gift so that they think that I will not be able to say no. I know these games. I'm part of the Sicilian mafia. I know all the games. So this is very important intention, and it's the way it's done. It's very important. And even when you are asking a Brahmana to do the ritual, it has to be for a dharmic reason, not for a kama reason. And a Brahmana has to accept only for a dharmic reason. Like, for example, a Brahmana is asked, oh, please put some black magic on somebody. Technically, he or she should not accept that, because that is not for dharma. That is not for dharma. It's for attacking somebody. That is not dharma. That is a desire, karma. So it has to be very, very clear. Yeah. Anyway, let's conclude with a chant. I will chant for you. Namaste. Om. तच्चयोरावृणीमहे गातं यज्ञाय गातं यज्ञपतये दैवे स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं भेषजम् शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शञ्चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्तिः Namaste, friends. See you in October. Thank you for being here. Namaste. Namaste.